pleasant Monday evening here at 7 o'clock here from our palatial podcast studios of Jazzy Jeff and the Podster here on this Monday evening. Been kind of a nice day today. And the good news is, if you're wanting some rain, may have some coming up here this week. We'll just have to wait and see. We are very, very dry. Well, we have a big show tonight. There's a couple of items that we're going to talk about. One being, whatever happened to this investigation with SLED versus the former recreation member there, Rick Lacy. We're going to talk about that tonight. Let's see, what else are we going to talk about? Oh, I didn't even have to stir the pot for this one. There's something that happened over a weekend, this past weekend, matter of fact. There was a video that involved an elected official in Oconee County. What was that video? Well, stay tuned. We'll talk about that video coming up here in just a few moments. Let's go ahead and jump in with some top news headlines here of what's happened in the last 7 days. And one took place this afternoon. Matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and show a video for you as one of Oconee's most historic institution is turning the page, and that is the Tomassi DAR School, and a name generations of local families have known is moving forward with a name change. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and get that video up real quickly, and we'll watch this as the CFO of the new name, and he'll tell you all about that coming up here in just a few moments. Let's go ahead and bring that up online here, and let's play that video right now.
I have some really exciting news to share with you. Tomassi DAR School is now Tomassi Hope Village. That's right, we've changed our name, and we are now Tomassi Hope Village. The obvious questions are, why did we feel the need to change our name, and why did we pick this particular name for our nonprofit? You may be familiar with the proverb that says, it takes a village to raise a child. And we all know that to be true. As our kids grow up, they need teachers and coaches, mentors and pastors and others that come alongside them and help them grow into healthy adults and into good citizens. And if that's true for our kids, it's especially true for children that have come from adverse circumstances. And that has been what Tomassi is always about. Since our founding, through all of our program iterations, to the incredible services that we offer today, our Starlight program, our Early Learning Center, our after-school and summer day camp programs, all of those programs provide a village, a community of support to come alongside children and help them make hope a reality in their lives. Not only did we want a name that embodied those programs that we offer today, but we also wanted a name that honored that long history and legacy. And we feel like this name does it. I mean, after all, our campus does feel like a village. But thirdly, we also wanted to include all the stakeholders that help us make this incredible impact. Our donors, our volunteers, our program partners. It takes all of us working together as a village to have the incredible impact in the lives of students and families that we see here at Tomassi. Of course, we will always be grateful for the incredible legacy and generosity of the Daughters of the American Revolution who founded us 107 years ago. Several years ago, the National Society DAR ended their support for us, and they have now generously agreed to transfer a number of trusts to our ownership to continue supporting the incredible work that we're doing here in upstate South Carolina. We're not only grateful for them, we're also grateful for the South Carolina State Society, for the local chapters and the local daughters who continue to invest in our work as donors, as volunteers, and as incredible board members. So we're excited to share that we are now Tomassi Hope Village.
Thank you for your support!
If you want to learn more, visit us at mytomassi.org, and thank you so much.
There you go. That happened a little bit later this afternoon. It actually happened earlier today, the name change. And that school, which is located not too far from where I'm at, has been a fixture in the community for many, many years. So it now has kind of a new marketing, new purpose. And we want to say hats off and congratulations for what they are doing and what they intend to do. I think it's a good deal. I think the sad thing of it is I think we'll continue to always call it the Tomassi DAR School, but that's pretty big. All right, some other news. Coming up tomorrow night, Seneca City Council, they're having another work session. And, of course, growth. They're dealing with more growth. There's a whole bunch of subdivisions that is being annexed into the city that are located off South Oak Street, South Carolina Highway 59. And they're going to be talking about all of those. And, of course, it may sound boring on paper, but this is where the future of Oconee is getting decided right before our eyes. Roads, water, sewer, traffic, neighborhoods, lake property, and taxes. It all starts in these meetings, and, well, we're going to be able to bring it to you. We'll let you know how that turns out coming up for tomorrow evening. They're having the work session tomorrow at the Seneca City Council. Now, here's something that's pretty funny that's popped up on the radar. Well, there is talk now of a Clemson bypass proposal. I hate to tell people this, but this has been in the works for many, many years. Now, there was a memo that the South Carolina Department of Transportation has leaked out, or somehow I got a hold of it. But the bypass route could bring changes to part of the southern Oconee. Supporters may see it as a way to relieve the traffic around Clemson and Highway 123, and similar to what we have on Wells Highway, you know, where we can get on Wells Highway and we can bypass Seneca and we can run right out at the shopping centers. Oconee residents are being brought into the conversation early enough. And this is one of the stories where the map matters, and so does who the benefits. And again, that is coming up here very shortly for you. Also, to the Oconee County Sheriff's Office has issued another scam warning. This had been floating around. I don't know how many of you have seen this, but the Fifth Circuit, these little things that are coming up, they're everywhere, by the way. That you've been fined and you need to pay your fine. Don't fall for it. Okay, they're not going to send you this in the mail, but it is a scam, and unfortunately, there's been a few people that have fallen for it that is actually send money. So again, these fake court notices, QR code payment tricks, bank-related phone scams, these scams are getting slicker, and they are aimed at especially at folks who may panic when they see something like this. And they think it's official. Well, it's not. And the reminder is simple. Don't click it. Don't scan it. Don't pay it. And don't be embarrassed to ask questions. And if you're unsure, call the Sheriff's Department. 864-638-4111. And you can talk to a dispatcher. A deputy can come out. But let me say, a lot of this is just scams. It's just like the toll road scams. Some of these scammers are getting very, very slick in what they do, and you especially on email, you can take a look at the email and take a look at it and go, goodness gracious, it looks legit. It's like the IRS thing too. And if anybody asks you to send gift cards or go to the store, that's a dead giveaway. That is completely false. It is a scam, and I don't want to see anybody get scammed. Well, over the weekend, there is a video that was shared, and it involved an elected official here in Oconee County. It involved Christy Hubbard, who is the county auditor, and she is a public official, appearing to sing along to a TikTok video containing a racial slur. And let me say just plainly, it is bad. And there's some things you don't laugh off. And there's some things that you don't explain away. Well, it was just a song, or I didn't mean anything by it, or everybody does TikTok. Let's play the video, and I'm going to tell you viewer discretion is advised. Viewer discretion is advised. But let's play the video, and let's come back, and let's have a conversation about that here on the Pot Stirrer.
Question, cause I really need to know, do you ever get tired of being a bitch ass nigga? A hoe ass nigga. A pussy ass nigga. A pussy ass nigga. Do you get tired? Do you get tired? Do you get... I got a question, cause I really need to know, do you ever get tired of being a bitch ass nigga? A hoe ass nigga.
That is your elected representative, County Auditor Christy Hubbard, doing a TikTok challenge. Now, it's even worse. It does get worse. Let me show you how it gets worse, because here is what she says about it. To put this out there along with everyone else and the fake accounts and the wannabe talk shows here on Facebook and the people tagging the Pine Street principal. So that's what she thinks of the new county administrator. Pine Street, by the way, was the name of the former school, or South Pine Street was the name. And yeah, yes, I did a TikTok trend post. I do them a lot with my husband. This one was removed prior because it was muted. Let me take this off real quick here. Give me just a second here. There we go. Yes, my husband and I make stupid TikToks, and yes, my dog licked my face. Go watch the other TikTok post. I could use the views. Y'all have a great evening. Well, when you hold public office, you're not just representing yourself, you're representing the citizens who elected you, the office that you occupy, and the trust people place in county government. But this is her explanation. Like, brush it off. Don't we have enough problems in the world to have an elected representative? Bitch ass blank. The county auditor is not some private citizen sitting back in the back row with no responsibilities. This is an elected official. This is someone whose office deals with taxpayers, property, public records, millage money, and public confidence. Public confidence. Now, some folks will immediately try to turn this into politics. Some will say, well, she's a liberal. Some will say, well, if this were a conservative, the outrage would be louder. Some will say it's just a video. But here's the truth of this video and what has been shared. Wrong is wrong, no matter what letter is beside your name, no matter who you voted for, and no matter what crowd you run with. If an elected official is on video singing alongside a racial slur, that deserves a whole lot of scrutiny. Not because people are perfect. God knows I'm not perfect. Not because nobody has ever made a dumb mistake. Because there are certain words that carry can carry history, pain, and disrespect. And as a public official, she should have known better. So if she's doing TikTok and trying to create TikTok videos, maybe she needs to resign and stick to the TikTok. I mean, just a couple of years ago, we had the TikTok challenge of eating Tide Pods. Is she going to do a TikTok challenge if somebody decides to jump off the Joe Cassie Dam? This isn't about being politically correct. It's about basic justice. This is about maturity. 51-year-old now. This is about whether people in public office understand that their actions have consequences. And here's what bothers me most. Oconee County has enough of real issues right now. We have growth issues, we have tax issues, we have budget questions, we have millage concerns. We have citizens wondering whether county government is being transparent, accountable, and competent. And I think some aspects, there's a lot of good things that's happening right now. The last thing that we need in Oconee County is an elected official going viral for singing along to something hateful and offensive on TikTok. That's not leadership. It's not professionalism. This is not a standard taxpayer should expect from someone holding public office. And let's be honest, if this had been someone on the other side politically, people would have already demanded apologies, resignation, investigations, public statements, and probably a press conference before lunch. Let me just say this. Had this been Matt Durham, if Matt Durham had done this, you know what would have happened? We would have had a free-for-all in Oconee County. So why don't we apply the same standard across the board? If it's wrong for one side, it's wrong for all sides. If it's offensive from one official, it's offensive for any officials. If public trust matters when your opponent messes up, it's better matter when your friend messes up too. And that's the part people hate about accountability. It does not care who you like. No one should be on TikTok video defining a person's entire life. You know, here's a fair question. People make mistakes. People say stupid things. People get caught up in moments that they should have had wisdom to avoid. But a public office comes with a public accountability. And when are we going to stand up and start holding our elected officials accountable? At minimum, I think the citizens here of Oconee County deserves an explanation. Not a polished political dodge statement. Again, if you're just tuning in, let me read this again. Get ready, that's coming up here. Let me hide that a second because that's going to be coming up. But again, let me bring it back up. This was her explanation. This is what she said. So instead of just saying, hey, look, I screwed up and made a mistake, to put this out there along with everyone else and the fake accounts and wannabe talk shows here on Facebook, wannabe talk shows. Now, again, I hadn't posted anything about it. This is the first time that I've discussed it. I did a TikTok trend post. I do them a lot with my husband. This one was removed prior to it being on here because it was muted. Yes, my husband, and I make stupid TikToks. And yes, my dog licked me in the face. Go watch the other TikTok post. I could use the views. She could use the views. I mean, the auditor serves the public. It's an elected official. How do we do checks and balances with this? Again, if this had been a teacher, I can guarantee you, if this had been a teacher in Oconee County Schools, she'd have been fired in a second. If this had been in the private industry or private period, it would have been she would have been fired. The word is racist. Period. Seriously, the word is completely racist.
Question, cause I really need to know, do you ever get tired of being a bitch ass nigga? Ass nigga. A pussy ass nigga. A pussy ass nigga. Do you get tired?
So, again, that video, TikTok, shared on Facebook, that's where it come up. There were some folks that posted that video. I want to share an email that we just got. Just got this email in. Dear Jeff, I wanted to put this into words because this really has bothered me. I don't know how well everyone knows, but those who do know me, that my 4 biological children are biracial. I was raised by a mother who taught me from day one that we do not call people out of their name and we never use the N-word. Never. I raised my children that way. I have also had many children who call me mom. Many of them are brown skinned. Some of them may have thought it was okay to use that word, even joking around or repeating something they heard in a song, but not in my house. It is not okay for me to say. It is not okay for you to say either. It's not funny. It's not acceptable. I do not care what the trend is. I do not care what song says. I do not care how much money someone makes or what position they hold. The word has been used in hateful, degrading, and derogatory ways for generations. And there is nothing casual or harmless about throwing it around. What even hurts more is seeing people who claim to be followers of Christ act like this is something to laugh about. You cannot stand up and call yourself a believer while firmly using a word that has caused so much pain, and they act like it's no big deal. I am shocked, hurt, and honestly disgusted, and if anyone thinks this kind of language is okay, then we clearly do not see things the same way. It is not okay now, and it's not okay then. Comment just checked in here. There is no place for this. Sally, I agree with that. I do. I agree with that. Do you understand the dignity of the office you hold, Christy? That is the question. This is not about cancel culture. It's not about digging through someone's kindergarten report card looking for a reason to be mad. This is about something that was put out publicly on social media by an elected official in the year 2026, when everyone knows better. Now, if you don't know better by now, that's a problem all by itself. Oconee County deserves better than this. The taxpayers deserve better than this. The office deserves better than this. And the people who have been hurt by the word deserve better than watching elected officials treat it like it's a background music. I mean, if you want to do TikTok, resign your office and go do TikTok full time. So tonight we're asking a simple question here. We're asking a very simple question. What happens now? Will there be an apology? Will there be accountability? Will the county leaders say anything? I think they're upset too. Will citizens hold the same standard no matter who the official is? Because that's where the rubber meets the road. Accountability is easy when it's your enemy. It's a whole lot harder when it's someone you know, someone you voted for, or someone on your political side. But leadership means standards, and standards mean nothing if they only apply to the people we already dislike. So I'll say it one more time tonight on the program. The video is bad. It shows poor judgment. It damages the public trust. And I think Christie owes the people of Oconee County an explanation and a real apology. Again, this is her apology. This is what she said. This is directly from her. To put this out there along with everyone else, the fake accounts and wannabe talk shows here on Facebook, and the people tagging the Pine Street Principal, already just hammering all over the new administrator, Stuart Jones. The Pine Street Principal. Again, hey, Christy, if you want to do TikTok, go do TikTok. Go make these videos if that's what you want to do, but you need to resign. And the thing about it is, the county leaders, she's an elected official. It's not like you can go in and fire a county employee. She is an elected official. It's bad. It's sad. But is that where we've gone? Again, is this where we're heading? Mike checks in. I wish you could, but you can't. You cannot. You can't fire her. She's an elected representative. She was voted in by the people. But I can assure you, if that had been me, or Mike, had that been you, or anybody tonight watching the show, had you did that in your business, or not business, but if you were employed, I can assure you the school district of Oconee County, the school district, if there had been a teacher done that, guess what would happen? Bam, they're gone, fired, out of here. Private would have been, I mean, look at all what we had just went through just a couple of months ago or years ago when we had the Charlie Kirk thing, when everybody was posting all these things about Charlie Kirk. The professor at Clemson University, out of, suspension. Again, I'm going to say this. The video is bad. It shows poor judgment. It damages the public trust. And Christy Hubbard, you owe the people of Oconee County an explanation and a real apology. Not because of a political opponent said so, not because the social media is mad, but because public office requires better. You're an elected official. And again, if you're African American, you've had to deal with this for many, many years. Have we not learned anything in history? Have we not learned anything? It's just a word. I'm sorry. I'm not going to say it. I don't like it. Have we not learned enough in the world? What's your thoughts? Hop on board. If you want to email me your thoughts, you can. It's Jazzy Jeff at jazzyjeffpotster.com. I want to think that email. That's that we got. But again, the video is telltale sign. And if you think that's bad, there's another video that has just circulated on the social media. And this one is coming from Pickens County. We have a high school student in Pickens County that her family member is part of the Pickens County School Board, uttering the N-word. I'm not going to play it. Not going to play it. It's just, it's too offensive, and it's just really stinks. Maybe I was raised at a different time. I was raised to respect people, respect different thoughts and feelings. I may not always agree with a lot of things, but at the end of the day, have we not learned anything? Have we not learned about the 60s and what our family went through many years ago? I just think it's wrong. It's crazy, an elected official, and I can assure you, and again, I'm going to use this, had this been somebody on county council, had they done this, you would not believe the outrage that would have been. And I say this truthfully, that had Matt Durham done this, good Lord, or had Don Mize or any councilman, anybody, that there would have been a lot of outrage. But you have an elected official, that is the county auditor, singing TikTok videos. I don't care, lip singing. It doesn't matter. So there you go. It is 7:26. Thank you all for everybody checking in here on the Pot Stir. Again, I didn't even have to stir the pot with that one. But now the next one, I'm about to stir the pot. And tonight here on the Pot Stir, we need to go back a little bit and talk about something that happened in March of 2024 that nothing has been posted, or a follow-up is what we're going to do. So let me set this, the story straight, because, people need to figure out, listen here, because I got something very special for you. So let's go back to the firing of the top two Seneca Recreation Department officials and the questions that followed about a youth basketball tournament money. So back in March of 2024, the public learned that Seneca Recreation Director at the time, Rick Lacy, and Athletic Director Terry Mulkin had been fired by the city of Seneca. And at the time, City Administrator Scott Mulder confirmed that the two were terminated for what they called misconduct. I'm sure that there's some city people listening and watching the show tonight. They make it a habit now to watch. Well, the investigation centered around what city officials described as financial discrepancies involving money collected at a youth recreation basketball tournament games at Schaefer Recreation Center. Well, according to city explanations at the time, the money involved admission fees paid by spectators attending a county basketball tournament game. And there were several games. Adults were reportedly charged $5, children $3, and most of the money was paid in cash. Well, city officials said the finance department had received a deposit of a little more than $2,800, but the amount was supposed to have been much higher, reportedly closer to $12,000 for the tournament period. And those were the claims that deposits had been turned in other, or had not been turned in other tournaments, which led to questions about how much money may have been unaccounted for. Well, again, the numbers got people's attentions. And let's be honest here a little bit. When the public hears words like misconduct, financial discrepancies, missing money, and SLED investigations, people start drawing conclusions fast. And that's exactly why tonight's follow-up matters. Because the SLED report is out. And according to the SLED report, SLED, listen up here, SLED did not find evidence to support criminal charges against former Seneca Recreation Director Rick Lacy. Let's be clear about that. SLED wouldn't touch it. That does not mean the city of Seneca could not make an employment decision. That does not mean that there were procedural problems. That does not mean the city had no concerns about how cash was collected, counted, stored, or deposited, but it does mean something very important and something that I want to get out. The criminal allegations that hung over Rick Lacy's name did not result in criminal charges. And that deserves to be said just as loudly as the original accusations, because there's a big difference between being fired from a job and being proven guilty of a crime. The city can terminate any employee under its personnel manual. A city can say policies were violated. A city can decide it no longer has confidence in an employee handling of procedures. But that is not the same thing as saying a person stole money. That is not the same thing as saying a person committed a crime. And it's certainly not the same thing as a criminal conviction. That distinction matters. It matters because reputations matter. Rick Lacy worked for the Seneca Recreation Department for more than 20 years. Many people in this community knew him through youth sports, basketball, football, baseball tournaments, recreation programs. And when a story like this breaks, it doesn't just affect a job title. It affects a name. It affects a family, a reputation, and years of community involvement. Now, from the city side, there were concerns. The city said money was not properly handled. They said funds were not properly secured. They said cash was found in the Schaefer Recreation Center office that was greater than it should have been and not stored properly in a lockable safe. Well, those are serious administrative concerns. And frankly, if cash was being collected at these public events, there should have been strong controls in place from day one. There should have been receipts. There should have been two-person cash counts. There should have been written logs. There should have been daily deposits. There should have been reconciliation between attendance numbers and gate revenues. There should have been all of this. But for 20 years, Rick Lacy was the recreation director. There was not a problem. I sit in the administrator's office, Scott Mulder, and he just commenced to telling me that this looks bad, blah, 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 and all this, that, and the other. And again, you have no receipts, no two-person cash counts, all of this. So is this really the recreation department? Was this really Rick Lacy, or should this be blamed on the finance director of the city of Seneca at the time? Scott Mulder is the administrator. You had, now you got three administrators. But yet you are pointing your finger at Rick Lacy, but isn't it up to you as the administrator to have all these checks and balances in place? You're the administrator of the city of Seneca. This is not a mayor issue. This is an administrator issue. There should have been a clear chain of custody for every dollar collected. If that system was loose, then it's not just an employee issue. This is an administration issue. It's a management issue. This is an oversight. This is a city procedural issue. Because if the system allowed confusion, poor documentation, delayed deposits, or unsecured cash, then the question becomes bigger than one person. The question becomes, who designed the system, who supervised the system, who audited the system, and who allowed that system to operate that way? You cannot have a weak cash handling process and then act shocked when these questions show up. That's like leaving the barn door open and blaming the cow for understanding freedom. But here's the part that needs to be said plainly. If the public was told about financial discrepancies, if the public was told SLED was involved, if the public heard talk of missing money, then the public also deserves to hear the SLED reviewed the matter and did not bring criminal charges against Rick Lacy. See, in the article in the newspaper, in the journal, poor Rick was just blasted. Just completely blasted. But we have another issue brewing that nothing has ever been said yet. Has anybody asked the question why our arts and historical lady that was fired, why Shelby Henderson was fired and what she was fired for? Nobody's asked that question, but yeah, she was terminated. She was over the arts and historical aspect of the city of Seneca. But no one's asked that question. You don't get to shoot the accusation and whisper the outcome. That's not fairness. That's not transparency. And that's not how the public trust is built. Now, some people will say, well, he was still fired. Yes, he was. And that's a separate issue in itself. Employment decisions, criminal investigations are not the same thing. A person can be fired for violating a workplace policy without committing a crime. A person can be removed for poor procedures, poor documentation, or a follow-up to internal rules. But once criminal suspicion enters the public conversation, the follow-up must be public. And because the damages from an allegation does not end when the investigation ends, the damage stays. People remember the headline. They remember the rumor. They remember the accusation, but they never heard the rest of the story. Well, tonight we're giving you the rest of the story. The evidence did not support criminal charges against Rick Lacy. That's important. And in my opinion, I think the city owes the public a full explanation, not just about Rick Lacy, but about the entire cash handling process inside the recreation department. I don't care what they think of me anymore. I really don't. When they're all gone, I'm still going to be around. You didn't have all these things put in place like tournament admissions counted, responsible records were kept, review of these records. Were there written policies? Were they followed? After this happened, the changes were made to make sure every dollar collected at public recreation events properly documented, secure, and deposited. You know, these are fair questions. These are not attacks. These are accountability because the public money, public trust, and public reputation all wrapped up into one story. The city of Seneca may stand on its personnel decision, and that's their right, but Rick Lacy also deserves public record to reflect all of this. Both things can be true, but the city had workplace concerns. But again, I want to bring up 20 years. This was never an issue. For 20 years, he led the Seneca Recreation. And then all of a sudden, bam, this is a problem on a feel. This is exactly why follow-up matters, and this is exactly why I do this show now. Because I want people to know and be involved more in the process. It's just like the issue with sanctuary code that we discussed here. I got so many people that have sent me stuff just in the last several weeks, and it's incredible what people have brought to my attention. And people need to be informed of what's going on. There's another thing too. Let me finish this up, and then I'm going to bring up a couple of other things real quick. You know, too many times in local government, the first story gets blasted everywhere, but the follow-up gets blurred. So we have an issue there. But not tonight. Tonight we're clearly stating Rick Lacy was fired by the city of Seneca after allegations involving financial discrepancies at a youth basketball tournament games, but after SLED reviewed the matter, the report did not support criminal charges against him. And that should matter to everyone, whether you support Rick Lacy, oppose Rick Lacy, or just care about fairness, because today it's his names, and guess what? Tomorrow it could be your name. But I had a lot of people reach out to me and wanted me to bring that, what was the follow-up. And I have talked to Rick's wife. I've been in constant communication with Miss Lacy about all of this. This really hurt their family. And again, that's just unfortunately, sometimes that's just the way things, but there's never been a follow-up at all. I wish there was a follow-up. A couple of folks have sent me an email, and we will do some following up. And again, there's some things going on, and it's really bad. Multiple people have reached out to me about trying to buy buildings in downtown, and the city administrator will only allow businesses that he wants to come in without full council advisement. Got an email right here. So I bring this up tonight to bring something up, and we're going to have discussions on this here in the next several weeks. Do you realize how much money you're spending in taxes in the city of Seneca? I mean, seriously, do you realize? Would you look on your screen real quick? Let's bring this up a little bit. I want you to see this here. So the big thing is $700,000 that we are paying for administrators' salaries. $700,000. We start off with a $300-something thousand, including a benefits package for Scott Mulder. Then we have Josh Ritchie's. And then we have Ryan Thomas. Now, by the way, the gentleman that was supposed to have been over doing the audit, the checks and balances over the finance department was Josh Ritchie's when all of this went down over at the recreation department. But let me just phrase this. Now, he's really technically now he's over Seneca Light and Water. That's supposedly what's been told or been said. But take a look at this up here. If you'll take a look, do you see where it says Seneca, South Carolina? It's $76 per resident. Seneca ranks the top 1 to 2% in the highest per capita administration cost in the United States. Seneca's per capita cost is 160 times higher than the major U.S. cities. Now, this is your distribution of your administrative cost per capita. So basically, if you're basing this on 9,200 residents, it's costing each resident for the administrative cost of $76 per a resident. So I'm going to take a look here. I'm going to break this down for you a little bit more. We'll come back to that in a second. $700,000 in administration cost. Well, Fountain Inn, who has 13,000 city residents in Fountain Inn, Greenville County, they have 1 plus 1 assistant. Their administrative comp together for the administrator is $218,000, and for the assistant is $95,000. Total leadership is $322,000. All right, Travelers Rest, which is comparable to City of Seneca, Greenville County, they have 9,000 population. 1 admin, $194,000 for the administrator. Total, $194,000. York in York County, 9,800 population. They have 1 city manager, $176,000. Newberry County, 10,000 population. They have 1 administrator and 1 assistant. The administrator is $230,000. Total compensation for total leadership is $300,000. So if we go back to Fountain Inn, it's $23 per resident, $21 for Travelers Rest, $18 for York, and $28 for Newberry. Want to know where your taxes are going? $76 per a resident. Per resident. Here's the public Seneca payroll data set. Actual public compensation packages. Scott Mulder, base salary, $206,000. Retirement is $38,000. FICA health benefits bonuses, $57,156 for a total compensation package of $301,837 with a vehicle assigned, by the way. Josh Ritchie's base salary, $154,523. Retirement, $28,679. Health benefits and all sorts of other things, $38,189. Total compensation, ready for this? $221,392.33. Vehicle, he gets that too. Ryan Thomas, base salary, $119,995. Retirement, $22,271. FICA health bonus benefits, $35,483 for a total compensation of $177,764.54. $76 a resident is what we're having to pay for all of this. Seneca ain't that big, folks. We got to have a city administrator, assistant city. Now, you can say whatever you want, but of course, Josh is supposed to be running Seneca Light and Water. And then assistant city administrator. We got city administrator and 2 assistants. I'm telling you. And now there's a rumor mill that we're going to raise taxes in Seneca. Woo, mercy. Are y'all not upset about this as I am? Yeah. We don't even pay Stuart Jones that, and he's their new county administrator. And he has 80-something thousand plus to deal with, plus a county 600 employees at Oconee County. I think Stuart Jones is getting a raw deal. I think he needs to ask Matt Durham for more money. This is crazy. This whole thing is crazy. I mean, the highest amount administrator making in South Carolina is right here in Seneca. And again, it is costing you, the residents, $76 per resident. I mean, the majority of cities are $20 to $40 per resident. And if you take a look down there, we're already sitting there at $701,000 total. Goodness gracious. Let's see here. I got a text message. Let me check. Maybe. I got a text message that just came in. Seneca administrative cost per resident is 76, is significantly above the national average. Most cities our size spend 15 to 35 per resident and operate with one administrator with a limited support staff. Even when the population is removed from the equation, Seneca's total administrative cost is $701,000, is more than double a typical city. And this is a structural cost difference, not just a salary issue. It reflects 3 executive level positions paid at upper tier compensation. Seneca, are you not mad yet? And yet we're going to have to raise a possibility of raise taxes, and we're sitting here paying $701,000? Yeah, you can say that I'm a pot stirrer. I thank Ronnie for that. I really do. I think, because if it hadn't been for him spurring me on, I don't know if we'd be here. But enough is enough. It makes me proud to think that Oconee County is in great shape now. All right, we are coming up to the end. I wanted to share those stories with you. We've got a whole lot more in the coming weeks that we're going to be digging in. And again, I'm pointing these facts out. I'm pointing these things out. There's more coming up. We've got a whole lot more to talk about. You know, another great thing, but we're starting out at $15 an hour for the fire and the police department. But yet we're paying 3 administrators $701,000. Can we not pay our police department? Can we not pay our firefighters? No, we think that they're second-rate citizens. I just want you folks to know that this is outrageous. This is unbelievable. But the problem is, no one's going to talk about it. But I can assure you the pot stirrer is, we got more. We're not even nowhere near done. I want to show you something here of just how people are finally asking these questions. Let's bring me back up here. Where am I at right there? There I am. In just the last 7 days, these are emails that I have received from people right here. These are emails from people asking questions that, hey, look, Jeff, we need to know this, or can you help us, or this. I got another story I'm working on. You know, and I'm going to reach out to the school district on this one. So the big issue last couple of years was about vaping in the schools. Remember this? They were talking about signing tickets and stuff, vaping. Did you know that Seneca High School and some of the schools have a little box or something before you walk in? So if you get off the bus and you got a vape, amnesty box is what it's being called. Vaping, amnesty box. You can drop your vape in there and you won't get in trouble. Amnesty box? Vaping? But yeah, I got told of that. And we're going to find out. We're going to ask some questions and get an answer. But yeah, I've got told that there's these amnesty boxes that are everywhere. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got another message that just came into us. No raises today for the city. If you're Seneca City, you were told they're broke. So you're not going to get any cost of living or any raise. Broke. B-R-O-K-E. But yet, look at here, boys and girls. They got the raise. $701,000. Let that soak in for tonight. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show here on the Pot Stirrer. Started off with a bang again. I'll be waiting for the, if we get one. I don't think we will, but I'll be waiting for the apology from Christy Hubbard. Yeah, if you just tuned in, you missed it. Again, I'm not going to have to go back and play it again. It was wrong. It was bad. Yeah, Jerry brings up a great point, Jerry. Yeah, they used to let students smoke at school. Absolutely. And they used to let the teachers smoke in school, too. That's been a long, long time ago. But, yeah. But apparently a amnesty box is what I've been told. That you can drop off, you can get off the bus, go in, or car rider, drop off your vape and go about your merry way, and it's the world in which we live in. All right, let me explain. Coming up Monday night here on the program, starting at 7 o'clock, we have Matt Durham and Don Mize is going to be in here. We're going to do the interview. It'll be a tape-delayed interview. We've got a lot of things that we're going to talk to them and ask them about. We are getting into an election cycle coming up. We have many running for county council and such. We also have governor wide open, and then your guess is as good as mine between this race for the U.S. Senate House. And then last week we had Mark Lynch in a video that he claimed was AI created, but it wasn't. It was actual video that he wanted to legalize cocaine. Now, I think I'm going to go home and pray heavily because I think we all need a little prayer. Anyway, I want to thank you so much for being a part of the show tonight. Again, next Monday, 7 o'clock, it is an interview with Matt Durham, and Don Mize they'll be right over there. You can't see them right now on camera, but they'll be sitting over there. We'll talk a lot about, one of the things that we'll discuss is, of course, this forensic audit, and the interview that Stuart Jones did with Matt Durham is really eye-opening. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the forensic audit. We'll talk about things that are coming up in this budget season here in Oconee County. We'll find out about anything about the budget, and we'll talk about that coming up on Monday's show. If you have an email or a concern, it's Jazzy Jeff at jazzyjeffpotstirrer.com. That's Jazzy Jeff at jazzyjeffpotstirrer.com. Again, the update just got told wow. And here's another reason too. I just found this out that Richie Caldwell, the fire chief, is leaving Seneca, going to the county. Couple of comments that just come in here real quickly. If they need 3 admins, maybe the wrong people are holding the positions. Just a thought to throw out. I think they are. Well, again, if you start doing your homework, we were 24 hours from Scott Mulder being fired at the county. And then all of a sudden, he pops up and becomes the administrator for the city of Seneca. And since that time forward, again, it's a mess. It's a how do I describe it? Can I say it's a shit show? Pardon me, but it's a shit show. I only want the best for my community. And right now, I think that we have some city council members that are afraid to say stuff. I'm afraid, and I do. I agree. I believe that they're afraid to say, wait a minute, something's wrong here. And again, hopefully that by hearing this and more citizens asking these questions, maybe it will clean up the mess. But right now, Seneca broke. I've been calling it for the last 3 or 4 years that people will listen. I knew it was broke. And it still is broke. I mean, we're paying money out, rob Peter to pay Paul. And don't forget, no one's having the conversations. We got this beautiful, fine 700-something seat fine arts facility, but guess it's going to cost us to run it. Where's that money coming from? Oh, wait, we got to raise taxes. I thought by Ronnie O'Kelly being mayor, I believe and I thought that things would be fine, but the more that's come out, the more that's happened, it hasn't been fine. It's really gotten worse. And I'll tell you, we do have some great city council people. We really do. Seneca does. Seneca has some great city council people. I just think that they're afraid to step up and say anything. They don't want to upset the apple cart, but there are a few that are asking the questions, that are starting to ask the questions that they should ask the questions. And hopefully that they will continue to do that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for tonight. Happy Monday, everyone. Again, next Monday night, 7 o'clock here in the air chair over here, we'll have an interview with Matt Durham, chairman of the Oconee County Council. Don Mize is going to be here, and we're going to ask them some questions. Hopefully we'll get some answers, and we'll find out more of what's coming up here, particularly with the budget, what we're facing this year. Of course, Stuart Jones, last week we did have a little bit of that interview. I thought it was a great interview, but the big thing that I took away from last week's interview with Stuart Jones that was conducted by Matt Durham, to find out the county was almost 3 years from being bankrupt. I'm going to talk about that coming up. We'll find out. All right, folks, hope you have a great evening. Again, Jazzy Jeff at Jazzy Jeff Podstir. You can go watch the show right now online at our website, jazzyjeffpodstir.com. And until, let's see, next week, hope you have a great one, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching tonight.
From the back roads and courthouse steps of small-town South Carolina to the late-night studio where the mics never sleep, this is where decisions, rumors, and real stories collide. You're tuned in to the Podstirrer Podcast with Jazzy Jeff. Real talk, local issues, no fluff.